Morgan, everybody. Ben Joravsky here. We're calling this a Bare Knuckle Thursday, and here's why. Great Laurie Glenn is standing by. Laurie Glenn is standing by. I know everybody's excited. You know, LG herself is back. She's bringing the energy. She's not scared. There are some guests who won't come on the mic because they're scared. I may see you wrong thing. I don't know. Not LG. She's not scared.
No.
I'm just vibing out my mental note to all the people. Ben, I haven't really read about that. Can I read up on that? Oh, you'd have an opinion if I just talked to you in a bar? Anyway, enough on that. The bare knuckles in question is not me at Laurie or Laurie at me. The bare knuckle in question, and I'm kind of laughing at this, are Democrats who suddenly, like, they woke up yesterday and realized, uh-oh, this is a game without rules. And listen, this is an analogy. I'm going to steal some of Laurie's thunder. This is some of the ideas that I've learned from Laurie Glenn over the years in conversations, particularly since she became on the mic. Democrats always knew politics was a bare knuckles game. They just generally reserve the bare knuckles for their leftist base.
Yes.
Okay. It's just like, you want it. It's not like they suddenly woke up and go, oh my God, to defeat Trump, we got to go bare knuckles. No. They were always trying to cut a deal with Donnie. They figured, wow, this is how we work with Republicans. We cut deals with them. I mean, look, your favorite mayor of Chicago, Mayor Rahm, when Bruce Rauner came in and was going to destroy unions, what did Rahm do? He's always looking to cut a deal with them. They went and drank wine together in Montana or Idaho, wherever the hell they were. And now Rahm's running as a Democrat for president. What a joke. But the point is, that's how Democrats, centrist Democrats in particular, deal with Republicans. They cut deals with them. And their end of the bargain is to destroy the left, to malign, mock, and beat up the left. And then after they've beaten them, tell them, all right, shut up and vote for us. You know it's true. Don't act like it's not true, Dems. You know what I'm saying is true. The amount of enmity, even Barack Obama felt compelled that he would go, well, my friends on the left, they've lost their minds too. Always that, like, pivoting to bring in the middle, like play the left. So, yeah, they know how to do bare knuckles, but they just never did it against Republicans because they're, as Laurie has pointed out many times on this show, they're all feeding from the same trough. Well, now they realize, they kind of woke up, and they realize that Michelle Obama's advice that when they go low, we go high didn't work against Donnie, particularly in the issue of redistricting. And so Donnie Trump was leading redistricting efforts in preparation for the midterms. So here we are in the middle of census. You're supposed to do a redistricting after a census to even out each district so that each district has the same number of people. I know my listeners know this stuff. That's when you're supposed to do a redistricting. Donnie said, no, Texas, he got on the phone with Texas. I need you to do a redistricting now, even though the census is not for another 3 years. I need it now in terms of the midterms. And the Republicans go, yes, sir, Donnie, boss, because that's how they play. And they jump to attention. And so the Democrats think, well, if the Republicans do that, I guess we got to do it too. Because you can't be in a position of power to sell out all your values to Republicans unless you get elected. You got to get elected first. You can't sell out your values if you don't have a seat. So in order to get elected so they can sell their souls to Republicans, the Dems have started redistricting, to which I say, hurrah, hooray. I mean, as I like to say, you can't play tennis if one side has a net and the other side doesn't have a net. If one side's had out-of-bound lines and the other side doesn't have out-of-bound. Even Laurie Glenn knows that because she was a great tennis player as a young child growing up in Evanston. I apologize. On the north side of Chicago, back in the 70s. She put down her bong and she picked up a tennis racket. I don't know about either one of those. I don't think she smoked reefer. Anyway, that's the funny thing. And all the Democrats are so happy. The voters of Virginia voted. It was a very narrow election, but a very disciplined voting bunch in Virginia. They got out to vote, and they were smart enough. They weren't dumb like Chicago voters. They understood what was at stake here, and they voted for redistricting because they understand that if you're going to beat the MAGA forces in the midterms, you got to have seats, districts, boundaries that favor the Democrats to offset. It's like an arms race. Right. The changes made in Texas. Duh. It's not. It's not rocket science. So anyway, Virginia voted to change its map. Perfect timing because Laurie Glenn, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect timing. 3 things have happened in the world worth talking about with Laurie Glenn. One is the Virginia redistricting. 2 is the California governor's race. And Laurie knows a thing or two about California because she used to work there. And then 3, I can't wait to hear Laurie in this one. Tucker Carlson, so sobbing. I was wrong. I'm sorry. He's got some angle going there, ladies and gentlemen. And we may get into some Cash Patel talk. Anyway, Laurie, it's so great to see you again. Welcome back.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, Ben, to talk with you as if we were alone and not being listened to by people.
So I just want to correct the record. I went on a riff, and I have no idea what's coming out of my mouth 90% of the time. Did you play tennis as a young lass on the north side of Chicago?
Of course. I went to Midtown, as all good little Jewish girls on the north side went, and took tennis lessons at Midtown. But I was never a great tennis player, so that wasn't
I did not even know that. I was just a riff.
I know. But I played racquetball, loved racquetball.
Final riff. I had you smoking a reefer in the 70s. Was I wrong about that?
No, of course I smoked marijuana. Yeah, but I never liked it. It always disconnected me and made me feel paranoid.
Yes.
So it's not my drug of choice. There are others I prefer, but mostly I would say a really great glass of red wine, like, again, all liberal Jews,
You're stereotyping yourself.
I am, because rather I do it before anybody else does.
Okay, very good. And also, she loves mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen. Going out in the desert. I just made that up.
Peyote when I was 17 in Joshua Tree and really lost it, but I've never done mushrooms.
Okay, let's just move away from that conversation. She was 17 a few years ago, so the statute of limitation has expired. Justice Department, Cash Patel, you can't sue her. All right. Where do you want to start? Let's just start. I began with Virginia redistricting.
Yeah.
The whole concept of Democrats. The New York Times headline: "They're bare knuckles." In the New York Times. They're bare knuckles. They're playing hardball. And I had a laugh because, like I said, Democrats are always playing hardball against other Democrats. Your thoughts on the Democrats going tough in Virginia and California, et cetera? Go ahead.
Well, I don't think it's going tough. I think they were being strategic. And I really have thought all along, I agree with you that the Democratic Party since Clinton has gone further and further to the right, and they've marginalized the left. And we should remember that Rahm Emanuel was part of the Clinton administration at that time. And he always hated the left. I have letters from him when we were friends disparaging the left. So it's been a long time in his lexicon. And I say that because he influenced, in many people, I think the Democratic Party and strategists, what they misunderstand is that it's the reason the American public have grown skeptical of the Democratic Party is not because of their policies per se, in terms of being afraid of the left in the party. They just think they're not being honest. They just don't think they're really being transparent about what they think. And it's clear because you have these consultants like myself, though I don't run campaigns any longer, but I do messaging. And but I'm a little different than other consultants, which is I try not to tell my clients what to say, and I try not to cut their balls off so that they are, saying exactly what, oh, don't say that, don't say that, no, don't put it like that, don't say that word. And I think that if the Democratic Party was going to learn one lesson from the extremist Donald Trump, because it was the 30% extreme of the Republican Party that has taken over America. So let's just be clear. It wasn't the moderate part of the Republican Party. And I've worked with moderate Republicans. I worked with John McCain and, did work on campaign finance reform. I elected Joe Harb. My firm did city councilman in Orinda, I think in California, a billion years ago. So I think what really the Democratic Party, in not being honest about what it thinks, people they don't trust it. And I think but I think Americans are, for the most part, moderate. I will say that, which is why pluralism is about the duking it out of ideas and you get somewhere in the middle. And I am sure that people and a lot of independents and Republicans will vote Democratic in the midterms. And that this is an example. I mean, all of the races where the Democrats have been winning, even though we didn't win Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat, we did substantial. I mean, it was very, good turnout for the Democrat, even though they didn't win. And I think that I thought very much that this redistricting battle would win because it's about fairness. And Americans don't like when we try and tip the fairness scale too far one way or the other. And all the extremities of the actions. And you know what also I don't think Americans like is chaos. And Donald Trump promised stability when actually they had stability under Biden, which is what is so hilarious. But Biden was a terrible communicator and his people were not good communicators. Sorry, guys. But clearly you had $1 billion and you lost Kamala Harris's campaign. But you could say the reason you lost Kamala Harris's campaign is because we should have all outed the fact that Biden was senile or had dementia and shouldn't have been in office any longer and done what he said he was going to do in the first place, which is run one time to prevent Donald Trump, which is what he had promised, and then put in somebody younger, more dynamic, and who could speak to America. And I'm sorry, to put Kamala Harris back up there, she is not a good candidate. I'm sorry, she should not be running for president again. She was given, and I don't believe that America will elect her. Now, if I'm wrong, mazel tov to her, and I'm happy to be wrong because I'd love to see a Black Asian woman as president. Nothing would make me happier, but I don't think America likes her. And I think there's this element that's so hard to explain about what makes somebody a charismatic, attractive candidate that, and you can say, well, it's her annoying laugh that people don't like. But first time I saw her, I was like, I didn't like her. That's just me. But if I didn't like her, I kind of think America, that Americans, the Democratic Party just needs to read the room more. And the Democratic Party in New Jersey read the room and they realized that they could do the redistricting. And I'm so happy they did and that they won.
You meant Virginia. All right. Now, I'm going to pick up on some of the things you said because I like to follow up on them. 3 things. One, I have to say this. Yes, you're absolutely correct that Joe Biden should have only run once. I saved the country from Donnie in 2020, and now it's up to the new people, the younger people in my party to take it from here. You're absolutely correct. That said, he didn't do that. And so my opinion now in retrospect is that the Democrats should have celebrated his dementia and reveled in it the way the Republicans do for Donnie. Two demented old men running against each other. Our guy is a different kind of dementia than your guy. I think the American people would have liked that, would have probably appreciated that more than a relatively young, vigorous, clearly intelligent, and obviously superior candidate in Kamala Harris. The second point, you said American people, Donald Trump represented stability. I'm going to push back on that. Donald Trump represented as a candidate chaos. He
right.
His entire campaign, he talked about like made up thing. He just made stuff up. Like people forget this. They don't talk about this anymore. But that Haitians in Ohio were eating their neighbors' pets. He one day he was attack people from day to day. His campaign appearances were volatile and defied all traditions and norms. And so to vote for Donald Trump was to be a vote for a person who was ripping up the playbook, so to speak. He was the exact opposite of stability.
So if we're really going to talk about why Donald Trump won, it's because of racism in America.
Yeah, okay, we're in agreement on that.
Be real that election was about race, and Americans were not going to elect a Black woman. First of all, not a woman ever at this point still, and certainly not a Black Asian, but presents as Black woman in America, and that wasn't going to happen. And when we see voters for Donald Trump interviewed, it doesn't matter because there was one reporter, I think with NPR, but it could have been with another outlet, who had gone and interviewed a bunch of people and said Donald Trump said these things, but it was really about Joe Biden, but actually Donald Trump had said these things and vice versa. And And of
Yes.
course, they were like, well, of course, Joe Biden, he's senile, blah, blah, blah. But then when they said Donald Trump said these things, they were like, oh, well, Donnie. And so we have to listen. See, okay, the Democratic Party. So whether we like it or not, Donald Trump knows how to build relationships with people. And the Republican Party, I've said this so many times, I'm such a broken record, built relationships with people through the church network by buying up the local newspapers and by buying up the local radio stations and building a dialogue with the American people, while the Democratic Party destroyed their community organizing component. And I believe that the people who are in power make fun of community organizing, because I've been in the rooms when they've done it, and they've made fun of the groups that I represent, and they think it's so nice, Laurie, that you represent these little poor Black and brown people. You're such a good girl. And it's like, fuck you, because really, I left the Democratic Party, you all stayed. And do you really think Donald Trump just happened overnight? You don't think it's about the plant closings that happened in the 80s and 90s, and the Democrats did nothing to maintain those middle-class union jobs in small towns throughout America, lost everything, and we sat there laughing at them until finally Hillary Clinton, who I do think would have made a great president, calls them the deplorables. That's outrageous, because they're voters. And you know what? Americans, they demand respect. And the Democratic Party lost respect for its base. And they sucked up to Hollywood, and they sucked up to the money people. And now you've got all these old people in there, or maybe not so old, but as I say, get rid of Schumer, get rid of Jeffries, and let's get some young people in there. Because I'm going to tell you, people say, oh, but they're young and they don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, I can't do any worse than we are.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was and I ran campaigns, and I won more than I lost. And we need to let young people rule the party. So that's what I want to say on that.
Okay, so
sorry, I know I'm a broken.
No, I appreciate that riff. The other thing you said that I want to come back to and hear you riff on that one. You said almost in passing, I want you to concentrate on this. You said that Americans are moderate, basically moderate. And I wrote that down, and you reminded me of my dear friend Mick Dumke. We've had arguments over the years, and great journalist Mick Dumke, and he's always telling me, Ben, you're essentially out of touch with Chicagoans. You're to the left where most Chicagoans are. Most Chicagoans are very conservative people, and that's the reality of Chicago. And he's kind of convinced me of that. So I'm always stunned when a candidate I vote for wins, which is it's very rare. I did vote for Brandon Johnson twice, and as soon as he got in office, they tried to kick him out of office, and they're still been working nonstop to kick him out of office. So it kind of proves Mick's point. So your point, moderate. Go ahead. Do you think Americans are moderate? Well,
if you want to talk about Chicago, again, Chicagoans are relational. Okay, they're relational. And what they want is to see a relationship with their mayor. I mean, I knew Rahm was in trouble when my, 80-some-year-old, may she rest in peace, she died last year, mother and her boyfriend, both Jews on Lakeshore Drive. One day I walk into her apartment and she's like, oh, Manuel. She had known we had once been friends, and she'd be like, I love Rahm and he's going to be great. And I'm like, whatever, pass the green beans, like I can't talk about this. And and then she goes, oh, yeah, he's so mean.
Wait, what did she say? I couldn't make that out.
So mean.
Oh, he's mean.
So
okay.
Nasty. What an asshole. He's so nasty. I can't stand him. I'm so tired. And I knew Rahm was in deep doo-doo when his old Jewish base was like, and it wasn't just him, and he had been sort of like a Jewish mobster, and quite literally. And he hated him too. So the two of them are railing on, and I'm just laughing my butt off because I'm like, okay, there's some trouble in River City here.
Wait, hold it. I cannot let this moment pass without naming names. Are you telling me that your beloved mother, her second husband
wasn't boyfriend?
Okay. Oh, they were living in sin.
No, they lived together. They lived in the same building.
Okay. All right. Hey, I don't need the details. All right. Are you telling me her friend was a mobster?
Yeah.
Without naming names?
Yeah. Yeah. And he was proud of it. He told us stories. I think he was a hitman, actually. I think I know. And he was really, I did not like this guy in the end at all. So I don't want to, yeah. He was not somebody I had a lot of respect for. And he was also racist, and that really didn't work for me.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's just move that. Well, that's for a private conversation at another time. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to hard for me to pull myself out of that rabbit hole and get back to relational Chicagoans. Go ahead.
Was a nice Jewish boy and the ultimate hitman. I'm sorry. There is a very big Jewish mob. The Korshak guy, the lawyer for the mob. I mean, it's,
Sidney Korshak.
Sidney Korshak. So come on. I mean, it's the mob existed and exists. They just look, they wear better suits now. And
yeah, no, you're absolutely correct.
anyway.
All right. So, but I cut you off, and I apologize. So you were talking about that Chicagoans are relational.
That they are relational. So this is what I've been thinking about so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the relationship that the party, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party creates with their base, and also the opportunity to expand one's base. But the Democratic Party doesn't know who its base is. See, it's lost its way. So I look at Mamdani, who I love. I think this guy, he rocks. He's a fantastic politician. And it's funny, his first several months in office, he is, while he does not have a good scorecard, like the, New York Times said, they identified 12 things and what he's winning at and what's not, because it's budgetary issues. And the governor and the, state is like, sorry, Mamdani, you're not getting this money. But it doesn't feel like New Yorkers are pissed at him yet. It feels like they see he's trying to do what he said he would do. So he's a good politician, and he built his base, and he's everywhere with his base. And the Democratic Party, like we've talked about this again, you come in 6 months, a year before an election, screw you. That's ridiculous. We need organizers who choose to live in a community and build solid relationships with the people in those communities. And that is how you rebuild the Democratic Party base, because it's about the relationship. And there was another article I read about this recently that again was, I think, in the New York Times or the Atlantic, and these guys talked about the Democratic Party and how the party lost its understanding of what its primary job was, its primary directive, which was to build a relationship in communities so that people felt a part of something. And it has to be intergenerational. You have to allow young people to come in and not marginalize them. I don't think it's like AOC. I mean, what a remarkable woman she is, whether you like her or not. Teach her, mentor her. I do think it seemed like Nancy Pelosi was doing that with her. Teach her how to do the inside game, but why don't you listen to her about the outside game, which is building the base, staying connected to the people who vote for you and accountable to them. And so until the Democratic Party actually releases the critique that was evidently written, and they refuse to release it, like that says everything. You're hiding something. You're not authentic.
Well,
so I think that the Democratic Party has lost its ability to be trusted. And while people may not like Donald Trump, at least they think he's saying what he means. He's saying what he thinks, even though he's a delusional motherfucker who it's unbelievable to think he is the president of the United States and has his finger on the bomb. And he's in there with Iran, and he's so over his head. I mean, when the president, or whatever they call him, of Iran sounds more rational than Donald Trump, you so know Donald Trump is in trouble.
Well, so here's the problem. That the Nancy Pelosi's of the Democratic Party, both then when Nancy was still very active, and now her current counterparts have with building the base. And I'll say that if you build the base effectively, they will vote you out of office because, again, the positions they hold are antithetical to what the base really wants. So in terms of the Republican Party, it's easier. All you got to do is say you hate liberals, you hate blacks, you want to kick immigrants out, and that's your base. You got it. Okay. Whereas with the Democrats, their base are looking for economic justice. Their base is looking for a more a concrete sign that you will do something for them. Well, you can't, if you're Rahm Emanuel or Barack Obama, you can't deliver on that because that'll upset your donors. So it's to stay in office, what you have to do is keep voter registration down. You have to repel your base. If you're Richie Daley, the key to winning is fewer black people voting, fewer poor people voting. If you're Rahm Emanuel, it's the same thing. It's absolutely if Julie Newlius or Susanna Mendoza or Paul Vallis or any of the wannabes out there defeat Brandon Johnson, they're really hoping for a low turnout in the black community. And so what they have to do is just alienate those voters, make those voters feel as though there's no point in voting and no point in registering. That's the playbook that the Rahm Emanuels and Barack Obamas of the world have written. Billy Clinton was the chief author of that playbook. So that's why, Laurie, they hate their base so much, because if their base ever got really activated, they would vote them out of office. Your response?
Well, I think it's a little more complex than that. I mean, I don't disagree with you that I think that what happens is that when people go to Washington, I mean, I see this all the time. I've known people a long, long time, and they start out really idealistic, and they start out with good intentions, and then they get into Washington, D.C., and they just get eaten alive. And they then, get slapped around, and people are like, you got to learn how to play an inside game. And some of them, they try to keep their values. And some of them, you've got extraordinary people like Bernie Sanders, he's so amazing that he just stayed clear with his values and built a national platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's more complicated than just saying they hate their base, because what I'm saying to you, I think is the real question is who are the base? What is the base?
I think it really is, but don't quote me on that. Yeah.
But who's the base? What is it comprised of? Who is it comprised of?
Yeah.
When they kick out David Hogg,
David, oh my God, yeah.
The vice president, a man who survived, one of the most, heinous killings in America.
The shooting in Florida. Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. You go, there's something seriously wrong with this organization, because he said, well, we've got to run people against incumbents who are doing nothing.
Yeah. So if you run the issues, listen, my show is where all the lefties who are trying to beat incumbents come to make their message. And I hear the message, almost every one of them. Like, I'm thinking of a whole stream of them who've come on the show in the last election cycle. And each one talked about in various levels inequities in our tax system. We have to change the way we raise money to pay for our government. And they've all talked about cuts in military and cuts in aid to Israel. We should no longer just be a blank check to Israel. Across the board, these are issues that the mainstream of the Democratic Party has spent the last 10 years of its existence vehemently opposing. And they're coming to, I don't mean to, this could be an hour discussion. The last vote, Bernie Sanders' vote in the Senate on funding military aid to Israel, showed a startling change for someone of my age, that 40 Democrats would vote against funding Israel. It was like, wow, things have really changed in the Democratic Party. 40 Democrats, including both Democratic senators from the state of California. And so I do believe that the Democratic Party it's like an ocean liner. It takes a while for it to turn around in a small body of water. But it's slowly turning around. But for the longest time, they've been resisting the things that their base, they know their base wants. They resist it. Their base wants health care. They've been resisting. They won't fight for national. Every single person that comes on this show that's running as a challenger says we should have a national health care system. My whole adult life, lefties have been saying we should have a national health care system. And guess what, Laurie? We don't have a national health care system.
Well, when Democrats were in charge, they could have put it that, abortion rights could have been law.
Yeah, they sell out on every issue. Abortion's another issue they sell out on.
That's what it's about, is human nature, and they're more concerned about staying in office. People, I talked to somebody recently again, and this person really started believing that if they weren't elected, the whole thing in this particular situation would fall apart because he was going to be the savior. And people start believing this stuff, and it's a problem. And that's why building a base of support, building numerous leaders, because people become corrupted. And I don't know what we do about human nature, Ben. I really don't, except that we have to vote them out then. And I think there should be term limits. And one last thing, because really what this is all about is Citizens United, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
And the money in politics is so insane and out of control. And again, so many people are making money off the industry as it is, political consulting. And it's, I did it one time. I get it. People are paid. And this is, again, about people's jobs. People are like, what are you talking about? You're going to hurt me. You're going to hurt my job. I mean, I was in an Uber one time in Colorado or Utah. And this woman, I think she ended up giving me a bad review because we started talking about politics. And, first it was really good. We had a really nice time talking. And then she was talking about how she was so against, electric cars, and then it turns out her 3 sons were all in the oil industry and gas industry in a big way. And one made a lot of money doing it. And so
wait, this lady was driving an Uber and her son made a lot of money in the gas industry?
Well, she had a shop and she was making extra money. I was in a small.
Well, how come Sonny Boy wasn't helping Mama out?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let's move for that because I'm looking at the clock and I really want to hear you riff on Tucker Carlson. Because I'm about to go down that list thinking, hey, cheap Sonny Boy, help Mama out so she doesn't try the Uber. All right.
Yeah.
So Tucker Carlson, I've been watching this game he's been playing since Fox fired him. And yesterday he took it to a new extreme where he's pretending that he's just not only outraged by the quote unquote turn that Trump has made, which is such a joke because he hasn't turned anyways. He's still Donnie. He's the exact guy you were supporting all those times. Nothing's changed. But he's actually guilt stricken about it. And this is an interesting term because I should say, because my life, I don't recall Republicans, particularly the MAGA variety, talking about feeling guilty. They're above guilt. They're above empathy. They're above sympathy. They mock and malign liberals for white guilt. I am not. Have no white guilt. Over anything. And so it's kind of their mantra. And yet here is Tucker Carlson, the former Fox host. He's broken with Trump for the moment over the war in Iran. And he acknowledged in a show the other day, Laurie, that he was part of the reason this is happening right now. Quote, it's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind. This is bad. I'm out, he said. It's a moment to wrestle with our own conscience. We will be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. And I'm very unsympathetic to him at this moment. I'm like so used to Chicago politicians talking out of 2 sides of their mouths. I've been trained this way. So I'm like, what's the deal you're doing here, Tucky? And Chris, my producer, knows I rant and rail about Joey Rogan. He's the same one. He's trying to play both sides against the other and look like he was coming out against Trump. And then all of a sudden he's at the White House supporting Trump on the issue of drugs. So I'm like, what game? So I'll put it to you. You've been around. You're a good student of human nature. Do you, Laurie Glenn, believe that Tucker Carlson is sincere and that he has genuine guilt and shame over having spent the last 10 or so years of his career, sucking up to Donnie and promoting Donnie and building a platform for Donnie so that he was elected twice? All right. Do you believe that he has shame for that, or do you believe he's running a con? The floor is yours, Laurie Glenn.
Well, I want to say 2 things. One, my firm and I have been instrumental in elevating the profiles of various leaders, labor leaders, community leaders who became elected officials, and obviously elected officials themselves. And there have been a few key people who I had become very close to because it's a very personal job, what we do, really, building somebody's profile. I hate the word brand. I loathe it. It's disgusting. I think it was made up by someone, some consultant to make money. So, but, I have been brokenhearted by at least 2 or 3 people who will go nameless, but they know who they are. And it took me years to get over one of them. I spent years building them up and then finding out they weren't at all who I thought they were. And I was devastated, actually. And it made me question my role in elevating people to have power, because I would warn people and say, okay, we're going to do this stuff. Here's this strategy. We're going to do this and you're going to become really powerful. But remember, when you have power, it can really corrupt. Oh, Laurie, I'm different and I have God, or I've got this to hold me accountable. And I'm like, okay, but I'm letting you know. And then next thing you know, they're crazy motherfucker land. As far as I'm concerned, the person I knew is no longer there. And I'm like, holy moly, what did I do? Why did I do this? Oh, I said, I'm never doing this again. I'll make some other huge mistake in my life. And so I cannot say that I've not felt the things that Tucker Carlson claims he's feeling right now. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I think Tucker Carlson is, a piece of shit. And I say that to you, Tucker, lovingly. I mean, you have done more to try and destroy democracy in the name of your own narcissism and ego and your platitudes and everything to divide people. You've been filled with hate. You've done everything to discount human beings, to destroy people who we call immigrants' lives. So shame on you. And oh, poor baby, he makes you feel so bad. Well, I don't know about that, but you help bring him in. Now you be accountable for that. And I don't want to hear your crying. What I want you to see is tell people, vote Democratic, get this guy out. What I want you to see, I want to see you bring people together. Tucker Carlson has done as much as he possibly can to divide people and to hate people and to think people are less than. So I have absolutely no sympathy for him, because it's all about actions speak louder than words. And every time he could have brought people together, he separated them. He othered people. He elevated hate to a national sport. He thinks he's funny. He thinks he's witty. Those little stupid, does he still wear bow ties? Fuck bow ties. Yeah. I mean, I wish they'd strangle him. I mean, this guy is a bad guy. And now he's like so sad. Well, Tucker, you deserve to feel sad, and you should be held accountable for bringing in to office one of the most atrocious human beings in the history of our government, and what he's done to destroy our democracy. Bravo. You're a real mensch.
Wow, that was a great riff. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a riff. She didn't have notes, okay? She was just speaking from her heart. Laurie Glenn, LG, on that riff. And that
is what I want to see the Democratic Party do. Get rid of the consultants. Don't ever hire me again. I know you're not anyway. Just go and say what you think and what you believe, and go out in the hinterlands of human being land and hang out with people and listen. And this is what I hear from everyone. Listen, and don't try and persuade them they're wrong. Listen to them and reflect what they want.
All right. And to your point about if you would have more, I don't know if you would have more confidence in the sincerity of Tucker Carlson, but it would be a more definitive sign. So in this article that he had really changed. So in this article, the New York Times reporter, I read this in the New York Times, also read it in Associated Press. But this particular article I'm alluding to is the New York Times article. And in this article, the New York Times quotes Laura Loomer, who is sort of picking up the mantle of Tucky. And so on the president's side, the far-right activist Laura Loomer wrote on social media that Tucker Carlson was trying to, quote, hand our country over to the Democrats.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson is trying to save his own ass, as he does again and again. He has 9 lives, and he's using He's used up 8 of them. Now he's trying to use, he wants to continue on because he sees, look, the winds, the tides are changing. When Orban, this is what we really should have talked about today, Ben. I'm sorry, I just thought of it, was Orban. It's like when Brexit won right before the presidential election the first time I knew Trump was going to win. And people kept saying and making fun of me. And I'm like, no, the tides, the winds have going across, the seas, the oceans, and we are going to lose. And we did. And Orban losing is the best sign that democracy is not totally dead yet. Thank you, Hungary. And I'm Hungarian. Thank you, my people. And so I want to say, that Tucker Carlson is reading the tea leaves. And he sees Trump looks like insane. This war in Iran, he's got Patel. He's got, what's his name? The head of the army. What's his name? Hegseth. This insane person who's firing all the generals left and right. And this guy has never been at war. Oh my God. Again, so none of this is going well. And I read this morning in the New York Times that they're going to be firing more people, can't wait to see who's next. And all these people are such nutballs anyway, how they ever got, into any position of power, if the Democrats are able to take over the House, Senate, and we got the presidency back, we got some work ahead of us. Put in some real laws that prevent anyone from trying to build a monarchy in our country again, which is what this man is doing. Weaponizing the justice and the FBI. I mean, it's unbelievable. This guy Patel, who's a drunk, obviously certainly not going to AA. He's not going to his meetings, that I can tell, and his weaponizing the FBI and the Department of Justice because of his girlfriend. That's crazy. It's like, what are we talking about here? I mean, I don't know. And the media I don't know. The media went after Monica Lewinsky really hard, and nobody, when said, "Oh, they're going after her too much, and they're stalking her." I didn't see anybody saying nothing about that when that poor young girl was destroyed by the media.
Yep. Jay Leno.
I
see you. All right, so, we've run out of time, Laurie, and so I didn't get to the other issue that I wanted to talk about, which was the California gubernatorial race. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to cut a deal with Laurie Glenn right now. I'm going to bring her back if she is obliging in May, and we're going to take the deep dive on a fascinating moment in my humble opinion, in current politics, which is the race to succeed Gavin Newsom as governor of California state. Laurie knows a few things about, because back in the day, she was running political campaigns in California. So she's a sense of California politics. And I'm with Eric Swallow leaving that race. There's so much to discuss. It's so, oh God, the Democrats with their pervs. Unbelievable. You think they would learn after Billy Clinton and Anthony Weiner and who else? What all the slicksters on Jeffrey Epstein's there? Nope, they keep electing pervs.
It's the whole issue, Ben. It's human nature. And until we find a solution for human nature, I think that this is a never-ending quest.
All right. Well, that's
thank you, Ben, for having me on your show once again.
You're welcome. It's always a blast talking to Laurie. We've been having conversations like this since roughly 1989 or 88. I forget the exact year. And now we're just having the conversations on the mic and sharing it with everybody. So it's always fun to talk to LG, one of my favorite people in Chicago. Take care, Laurie. All right. Great seeing you. Also want to thank producer Chris. He does an outstanding job. And I know LG agrees with me when I say, hey, producer Chris, give yourself a raise. Take it out of petty cash. Peace and love, everybody.
Remember, you can download episodes of The Ben Joravsky Show wherever you download podcasts. Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. Just search for The Ben Joravsky Show. Joravv as in victory, SKY. Subscribe. Give us a review. But remember the rule, 5 stars only. Go find The Ben Joravsky Show wherever you download podcasts. But also get this, Ben actually bought a website and it's actually pretty awesome. It's thebenjoravskyshow.com. Go find it right now, bookmark it immediately, because not only can you find previous Ben Joravsky Show episodes, thebenjoravskyshow.com is also the new home for Ben Joravsky columns. You may have noticed something's missing in your Chicago Reader these days. Where'd the Ben Joravsky columns go? They're over at thebenjoravskyshow.com. Go read his latest column. He's been posting his columns at thebenjoravskyshow.com for a while now. So after you read the latest column, go check out the rest. There's tons more on the site. There's also the Benny J Book Club. What's that, you ask? It's a book club. Ben talks about the latest books he read. Was it a good book? Was it a bad book? Find out at thebenjoravskyshow.com. And finally, The Ben Joravsky Show is now an independently funded podcast. That's right, Ben's footing the bill. We love what we do, and we want to keep bringing you content like this. We'd be flattered even if you consider donating to The Ben Joravsky Show. This operation now runs off the hard work of independent podcast producers who kindly give their time to keep this operation going. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Again, it's thebenjoravskyshow.com. J-O-R-A, V as in victory, S-K-Y. Read the columns, join the book club, and find The Ben Joravsky Show and subscribe wherever you download podcasts.